Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of super chats and comments and questions that we'll be able to react to. My initial take was, yeah, bad game all around.
Mhm.
Bad game all around, but it's only one game. We have 16 more of them, and I think we'll be fine. I really do. Watched it back today. Think we shot ourselves in the foot way too many times in the first half. The game flow certainly did not get in our favor because, to the 49ers' credit, they were taking advantage of our misfortunes and all the stuff that we were just giving to them and the stuff that we weren't even taking away from them when they gave us the chance. Like Pat P almost had a pick. It was thrown right to him across the middle of the field. He called it. And then Cole Holcomb, I don't know what the hell type of angle he was trying to take on that ball that Purdy threw right across to him and was snatched out of the air. I can't remember what receiver it was, but yeah, we had some chances in the first half, not only to take it away from them, but also just to play clean football, and we couldn't do that because of penalties and us being out of position and doing stupid stuff. But yeah, we had some slips too. Deontay slipping, Pat P slipping. Like, those were two big moments, two really big moments. Yeah, I just think a lot of football left in the season. This was a bad one for us all around, but we'll be fine.
I like it. I ain't tripping on it. I look at it like this, man. We left out some opportunities. That was my thing, missed opportunities. Thought missed opportunities, and I also thought this. When we talked both teams before the game started, we talked about how we feel like we're very similar, but we felt like those players are just further along. Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and we're like, we got George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Granted, DJ went out, but DJ and GP are still trying to prove that they can be as consistent, as dominant as we've seen Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk be since joining the NFL. We talk about Christian McCaffrey versus Najee Harris. We feel like we got a dope running back in our own self, but we're trying to have him get to the level of a Christian McCaffrey who we saw what he was capable of in the game. We talk offensive line. We feel good about our guys at times, but it's like we said, we don't have a Trent Williams, and we saw what that looked like at times in stadium. Then we flip it to the defensive side. We said, man, we felt like we had the same type of characters that they had. They got a defensive player of the year. We got a defensive player of the year. They got a guy in the secondary. We got a guy in the secondary. They feel good about their linebackers. We feel good about our linebackers. But the difference was their guys were a lot more consistent, and I felt like their role players were a lot more consistent. Whereas for us, specifically on defense, we were very inconsistent in the front seven versus the run. And I thought communication, when we started to use the multiple packages that we used, really bit us in the butt in terms of run fits and pass coverage. And that's when I look at it and I say missed opportunities, because you brought up the Pat P slip. You brought up the Pat P potential pick. You brought up the Cole Holcomb potential pick. You brought up the DJ slip. Shoot, I bring up the Kenny Pickett late throw on the slant that would have been a touchdown to DJ.
Yeah.
Greenlaw
I think we
was able
scored
to
though,
hit.
right? Wasn't
We
that,
did
wasn't
score.
that
We
on
did.
the one
That was
before
the move.
halftime?
Yeah. I look at the other post play to Deontay Johnson where if Kenny just makes the throw, it's like that's either a big play or a touchdown.
Yep.
So these are all just missed opportunities. It's not the end of the world because we don't look at those opportunities and feel like we can't generate those. We just looked at them and said we didn't capitalize on it. And that was my big takeaway. Heck, even the Christian McCaffrey 60-yard touchdown run, Levi Wallace has him hit wrapped up.
There was two guys there. Yeah. It should have been 3 or 4 yard run.
Right. Is that, oh my God, we don't have an answer for that? No. That's a missed opportunity, though. And versus a back like that, you see why it matters. Why you have to be so particular about the details. Because that missed tackle flipped the game. Think about that. That's the third play of the third quarter after we just scored in 2 minutes to bring the score within 2.
Yeah.
And now they go take it 60 on us and take the whole air out the stadium. That can't happen, man. But that's the stuff when we're talking about just the little details, and you can't miss these opportunities, a game of inches. Brandon Ayuk makes his electric jump ball catch on Pat P. Pickens makes his, but he's out
great
of bounds.
coverage. Like, I was saying this today. Out of 10 times, that's probably the one time you complete that.
Yeah.
That's probably the one time, and it happened in this game. But it also happened with all the other misfortunes and missed opportunities. It just all snowballed. Like, if one or two of them didn't happen, maybe the game would have been more imbalanced. It would have been a different flow, exactly.
Right. But that's kind of, like I said, how I looked at it initially, man. And the last takeaway I had in terms of my initial feeling was more so just this is a team in terms of the Niners that have played in multiple big games, multiple NFC championship games, a Super Bowl within the past 5 years. A lot of those guys have been in those games. Whereas for us, we do not have the same type of guys that have had those moments. And I felt, especially early on in that first half, that we were kind of caught off guard and surprised at the intensity that the Niners came out with and the physicality that they came out with. And that's one of them things where a team that has been in those moments, they understand last time they were on the field for real was the NFC Championship game. That's a totally different level of intensity than your last time being out there for real blood was a regular season game. And I just thought that the Niners looked like a team that had been in those type of fights and were ready to start like that. Whereas for us, we kind of warmed up to it. Right. You look at the last drive of this first half, though. I felt like we started to play and punch back.
It was a good drive. It's 90 plus yards.
It wasn't a, man, they're crazy. They're fast. They're strong. They're this. It was like, bro, we just like them. We could play with them. But then once they get the long running, in the third quarter, it kind of went back to, all right, maybe we need to guard it up a little bit. Maybe it's not what we think it is right now. And that's the stuff, like I said, just the difference of a team that has had success and handled a lot more adversity versus for us, we're still in the learning phase. We're still growing. We're still on the uptick of it. But
this is a little heat check for us.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Like I said, that Niners team is a really good and complete team, and I thought Purdy also played a lot better than I was anticipating. You talk about a second-year jump. We talk about Kenny like he's the only guy that can make a second-year improvement. Purdy, I thought, definitely made a jump, but I also felt like their offense kept him in good position. He didn't have a ton of third and longs like how Kenny was facing at times. A lot of his stuff was in rhythm. A lot of his stuff when he was making his throws in terms of play action pass were throwing to open dudes for a couple of reasons, and we're going to talk about them as well. But to me, man, like I said, man, I thought Purdy definitely did some positive things out there, though, man. But
yeah, that's a great point because it felt like at times our offense was in the Stone Ages. Yeah. In fact, it felt like it was being called like a Mitch Trubisky Steelers offense last year.
Yeah,
it was annoying. It felt like we were very predictable. It was like we have these certain personnel out there, and I'm even looking at it and saying, this is a runner, it's a PA boot, and the Niners knew, or one of these jet sweeps, and the Niners knew that too.
And part of the reason why I got to that, I do feel like was because of how at points in that first half we looked shell-shocked. It's like, all right, you had the turnover, cool. Then you had the almost turnover, all right, cool. Then it's like, all right, we just go start playing it safe because we don't want this to get out of hand. I kind of looked at it like that. It still sucks that that's what it had to go to because we had these crazy high expectations. But just in the context of when you give up those plays like how they were happening and the flow at one point, it was like, bro, this is about to get out of hand in here. The way to offset that is to just take it out that guy's hands until you feel like he's settled down or until you want to just call just safer, more high percentage stuff for him.
And our defense couldn't stop the bleeding.
Right.
It wasn't good complimentary football at all.
You hit it right on the head.
Special teams as well.
You hit it right on the head. No complimentary football. I thought the highlight of our special teams was kickoff return.
Ant Mac.
I thought he was a highlight out there.
Yeah.
But in terms of the punting, it was a little too inconsistent. We had some that were really good, some that we left a little bit more yardage to be desired out there. But
penalties on special teams, too.
You can't have those, as we already know. But like I said, it was one of them ones where first opportunity, we missed some opportunities, but we also faced a team that understands how to start, how to come out the gate hot because they're accustomed to those games. It is not the end of the world for us, though.
No.
To us, it's one of those, you learn from this. Yeah. You learn from it.
It's just disappointing because I thought we were going to be on their level.
Oh, 100%. And I feel the same. Like, I walked out that stadium like, man, we are much better than what we showed. We have way more confidence than that. Yeah. But unfortunately, we don't get to just, oh, yeah, man, can we restart it and now we play it the right way? In the NFL, it's you get one try at it right now, man.
Because that's how I feel. If we were to play them in week 2, I think it'd be a much different game. Yeah. Not saying it's a guaranteed win for us or anything, but
we have way more confidence, bro.
Yeah, and then you see how it played out in the second half. Now, granted, I'm sure they're playing a little bit softer on defense and whatnot, but
I looked
literally they only had 10 points, and one of them came off the 65-yard McCaffrey touchdown.
So, in terms of their coverage, they started to back it off midway fourth quarter. Before that, they were still playing some cool concepts. They still had their guys, and they were still playing aggressively.
Yeah, we were moving the ball.
I thought it was like that fourth quarter around like 5, 6. It was probably like 5.5 minutes left was when I really like noticed like, all right, this is hard shell cover 4 zone, like, or they're going cover 3, but it's no, like, they're not matching stuff. It was just real vanilla. And I was like, all right, cool. At that point, that's when I look at the garbage stuff, right? But third quarter, I did not feel like they were taking that approach. Beginning of the fourth, I didn't feel like they were taking that approach.
Yeah, so we maybe not exactly where the 49ers are at, like, right now, but I think that could change in a month, 2 months, whatever it is. As I said, long season, a lot of football left.
You need adversity to learn to grow. Like I said all the time, man, it's when you have everything go perfect for you like they did this preseason.
Right, everyone's starting to talk really highly of you. And that's the thing, like,
everything.
I don't know if they're watching that stuff. I'd advise them not to, but let's be real. Everyone's got a phone. Everyone has a TV on. So they're probably seeing that.
They're human.
Right,
You're aware of it. But that's also
so everyone's
why
talking so good about you. Oh, you guys are going to be awesome this season.
That's why as players we always tell them to guard against it. Don't read it. Don't get enamored with it.
One way or another.
Yeah, because they're either going to tell you were the greatest team a week ago. Now we're talking about, everybody needs to get fired this week. That's media, that's fans, bro. Like, as a player, you just understand that context and you just kind of roll through it. But yeah, you can make a case that I'm sure some of them dudes probably were feeling real good and confident because of what they had heard about them. You learn from it, though. This was an example of you can either believe your own press clippings and your own hype and think that you can just show up and teams are going, oh, my God, it's the Steelers. And you're going to get surprised like how you did yesterday. Or you can go out there and treat every single game, regardless of the opponent, as, I got to fight like my life is on the line here because the NFL level. And we've seen that. The way that they did that to us was how we looked against that Bills uninspired starting unit in the second game. The same way they was out there and it's like, dang, man, we punching them in the mouth. What's this about? That's how we looked yesterday at times. But that just shows you, man, it doesn't matter how good or how far along you are in your NFL journey. It don't matter. If you don't show up and play this thing 100% balls to the wall, it's going to get bad for you out there. Today's show is brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook, the top-rated sports booking app. It's football season. Plenty of people out here trying to have a little fun. This is the app that you go to. This is the app that you use. It's the app that we use. And why do we use it? Because it is safe, it is secure, but more importantly, Deke, it's reliable. Just like your barber. Your barber delivered a fire cut for you. That's reliability right there. All right?
Yeah.
And that's what DraftKings Sportsbook is. They are reliable. And y'all know if we're going to talk about them, we're going to talk about them for a reason. And that's because we have a promo code. So when you first, decide to hop into this game called sports gambling, sports betting, sports booking, all that good stuff, you're going to have that first time when you're putting that wager in. So when you're on DraftKings and it's your first time making a bet, all right, you're going to have to put a little deposit down. If you put the minimum, which is $5, and you put the promo code MOATS along with said minimum, you will instantly receive $200 in free bets. It's a beautiful concept. It's like you scratch my back, I'm going to really scratch your back. You can't go wrong with it, baby. So I love that part about them. But at the same time, Deke, it's not always butterflies and rainbows. Sometimes people struggle. Sometimes people can't handle all the fun that's associated with sports betting. And sometimes you or someone might have a gambling problem. They might need some crisis counseling or even referral services. Those people that live in New York, sitting there on the screen right now for you to text. And under that number for everybody else, it's a number you could call. And that number is 1-800-GAMBLER. I said 1-800-GAMBLER.